What if the greatest discovery was where no one looks? In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to find his laboratory in chaos. Petri dishes scattered across his workbench, contaminated and seemingly ruined. Most scientists would have thrown them away in frustration. Fleming almost did. But in that moment of annoyance, as he prepared to discard what appeared to be failure, he noticed something extraordinary. Around one contaminated spot, bacteria had simply vanished. That contamination was penicillin. That failure would save more lives than any medical breakthrough in human history. And it happened because Fleming looked where no one else thought to look. In the mistakes, in the mess, in the places we're taught to ignore. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, the greatest discoveries of our time are hiding in plain sight? Not in billion-dollar laboratories or prestigious universities, but in the overlooked corners of our world, waiting for someone brave enough to pay attention to what everyone else dismisses. Welcome to a journey that will change how you see everything around you. We live in an age of unprecedented scientific advancement. Yet for all our technological prowess, for all our sophisticated instruments and methodologies, we've developed a curious form of tunnel vision. We look where we expect to find answers, following well-worn paths that promise funding, recognition, and peer approval. But what about the spaces between? The anomalies we explain away? The failed experiments we quietly file and forget? Consider this. The Patent Office once declared that everything that could be invented had been invented. Universities rejected Einstein's theories as too speculative. Publishers turned down J.K. Rowling 12 times. The Wright brothers were ignored by the scientific establishment even after they achieved flight. The pattern is always the same. The greatest breakthroughs do not come from looking harder in familiar places. They come from looking differently at unfamiliar ones. Right now, as you watch this, millions of people are walking past potential discoveries. They're discarding what could be revolutionary. They're explaining away anomalies that could reshape our understanding of reality itself. The question isn't whether these discoveries exist. It's whether we have the courage to see them. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd threw a rock into a cave near the Dead Sea, expecting to scare out a lost goat. Instead, he heard the crack of pottery. That random throw led to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, one of the most significant archaeological finds in human history. The shepherd wasn't an archaeologist. He wasn't following any scientific methodology. He was simply paying attention to an unexpected sound in an unremarkable place. This isn't luck. This is about perspective. While experts focus on promising sites and conventional wisdom, the most extraordinary discoveries often emerge from the spaces we've collectively agreed to ignore. Every day we bulldoze potential archaeological sites to build parking lots. We demolish buildings without checking their walls for hidden historical documents. We fill in natural formations without considering what geological secrets they might hold. We're not just missing discoveries, we're actively destroying them in our rush toward predetermined goals. Here's something the scientific establishment doesn't want to advertise. Some of the most valuable discoveries require almost no money to find. They require something far more precious and far more rare: the willingness to look where others won't. 90% of research funding goes to investigating known phenomena in predictable ways. The remaining 10% is distributed among thousands of long-shot projects that must demonstrate potential value before receiving support. But what about the 0%? What about the investigations that require no funding because they involve simply paying attention to what's already around us? The greatest return on investment in human history might not come from the next billion-dollar research project. It might come from someone who notices something everyone else has been trained to ignore. Consider this paradox. Venture capitalists fund innovations by looking for patterns in successful companies, then investing in similar ventures. But true breakthroughs, by definition, don't follow existing patterns. They create entirely new ones. The most valuable discoveries are, almost by definition, the ones that no rational investor would fund. Every environment on Earth is conducting experiments that we barely understand. Every ecosystem is testing hypotheses about survival, adaptation, and efficiency that could revolutionize human technology. Every urban environment is generating data about human behavior, social organization, and resource distribution that could transform how we structure society. The natural world has been running the ultimate research and development program for billions of years, and we've barely scratched the surface of what it has to teach us. Cities, too, are living laboratories. The way people move through spaces, the patterns of wear on public infrastructure, the spontaneous solutions that emerge in urban environments, all of this represents experimental data that could inform everything from architecture to psychology to economics. But we walk through these laboratories every day without seeing the experiments in progress. We're surrounded by ongoing research that could change the world, if only we knew how to read the results. There's a word researchers use when they want to dismiss a discovery as just luck: serendipity. But what if serendipity isn't random at all? What if it's a skill that can be developed, a way of seeing that can be learned? Louis Pasteur said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." But what does it mean to have a prepared mind? It doesn't mean knowing everything about your field. It means being alert to everything outside your field that might be relevant to it. The most breakthrough discoveries happen at the intersection of completely unrelated fields. They occur when someone with deep knowledge in one area notices something significant in a completely different area. Yet our educational systems, our professional structures, our funding mechanisms, all of them encourage deeper specialization, not broader curiosity. We're training people to dig deeper holes, not to notice connections between distant mountains. Some of the most significant discoveries in astronomy have been made by amateur stargazers who spend their evenings scanning the sky with telescopes they built themselves. Major archaeological finds have been uncovered by metal detector enthusiasts exploring their local areas. Medical breakthroughs have emerged from patients researching their own conditions. These aren't flukes. They're the natural result of passionate attention applied to overlooked spaces. Why do we collectively ignore potential breakthroughs? The answer lies not in our intelligence, but in our psychology. We're wired to dismiss what doesn't fit our existing models of reality. When Ignaz Semmelweis discovered that hand-washing dramatically reduced mortality rates in maternity wards, the medical establishment didn't just ignore him. They actively persecuted him. His discovery threatened their expertise, their status, their entire worldview. He died in an asylum, vindicated only after germ theory became accepted decades later. We like to think we've evolved beyond such close-mindedness, but the same psychological forces operate today. Career incentives reward conformity to established paradigms. Peer review systems filter out ideas that challenge fundamental assumptions. Grant funding goes to researchers who can demonstrate how their work builds upon accepted knowledge. The system isn't designed to suppress breakthrough discoveries, but that's often its effect. Revolutionary ideas don't just challenge specific theories. They threaten entire academic careers, institutional reputations, and industrial investments. But some organizations have learned to seek disruption. Some researchers have trained themselves to pay attention to anomalies rather than dismiss them. Some institutions reward failure and celebrate unexpected results. They understand that the greatest discoveries often look like mistakes, until someone brave enough to investigate them proves otherwise. We now have tools that previous generations of discoverers could never have imagined. Satellite imagery can reveal archaeological sites invisible from ground level. Big data analysis can identify patterns across millions of observations. Global communication networks can connect observers of unusual phenomena instantly. Google Earth has led to the discovery of previously unknown ancient sites, simply because amateur archaeologists could scan vast areas from above. Social media has enabled the rapid identification and study of rare natural phenomena by connecting witnesses across the globe. Data mining has revealed unexpected correlations that point toward new scientific hypotheses. These tools are becoming more accessible every year. The equipment needed to analyze genetic sequences, study astronomical phenomena, or conduct materials research is increasingly available to anyone with curiosity and dedication. But the most powerful tool for discovery isn't technological, it's psychological. It's the ability to maintain what Zen Buddhists call beginner's mind, approaching familiar situations as if seeing them for the first time. While mainstream science follows predictable pathways, there's an underground network of discovery operating parallel to official institutions. Garage inventors, basement researchers, weekend naturalists, obsessive hobbyists. People who investigate the world not for career advancement, but for pure curiosity. Charles Darwin wasn't a professional scientist when he sailed on the Beagle. Gregor Mendel was a monk experimenting with pea plants in his spare time. Barbara McClintock's revolutionary work on genetic transposition was initially dismissed by the scientific establishment as impossible. Today, some of the most interesting research is happening in makerspaces, community labs, and personal workshops. People are conducting experiments that would never receive institutional approval, investigating questions that would never attract funding, following hunches that could never survive peer review. They're connected by online communities where strange observations are celebrated rather than dismissed, where failures are shared openly, where the goal isn't publication, but understanding. Some of these amateur investigations will remain curiosities. Others will eventually revolutionize entire fields. The challenge is distinguishing between them, and the establishment isn't always good at making that distinction. There's an economic paradox hidden in the search for discovery. The most expensive research often produces the most predictable results, while the most valuable breakthroughs often cost almost nothing to find. The Human Genome Project cost billions of dollars and involved thousands of researchers across multiple countries. It produced exactly what it promised: a map of human genetic sequences. Valuable, important, but predictable. Meanwhile, the discovery of CRISPR gene editing technology emerged from basic research on bacterial immune systems that required minimal funding and produced completely unexpected results that are now revolutionizing medicine. The pattern repeats throughout history. The most transformative discoveries often come from asking simple questions about overlooked phenomena, not from applying massive resources to well-defined problems. If you could invest in discovery, the best returns wouldn't come from funding the next logical step in established research programs. They'd come from supporting the researchers brave enough to investigate what everyone else is ignoring. Imagine a world where every anomaly is investigated, where every unexpected observation is shared and analyzed, where the collective attention of humanity is focused not just on solving known problems, but on noticing unknown opportunities. We're beginning to build that world. Artificial intelligence can identify patterns in vast datasets that human observers would never notice. Global sensor networks can detect environmental changes across multiple scales simultaneously. Collaborative platforms can connect observers of similar phenomena regardless of their geographic location or professional credentials. But technology alone won't create this future. It requires a cultural shift, from valuing expertise above curiosity, from rewarding conformity above investigation, from dismissing the unexpected rather than exploring it. It requires educational systems that teach students not just what we know, but how to notice what we don't know yet. It requires institutions that reward risk-taking and celebrate productive failures. It requires individuals who maintain their sense of wonder despite professional pressures to specialize and conform. Signs of this transformation are already emerging. Citizen science projects are engaging millions of people in real research. Open science initiatives are making data and tools freely available. Collaborative platforms are connecting curious minds across traditional boundaries. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want you to look around with different eyes. Whether you're in your home, on a street, in a natural environment, or anywhere else, you're surrounded by phenomena that no one fully understands. That crack in the sidewalk might reveal something about urban geology. That pattern of bird flight might contain insights into aerodynamics. That social interaction you witness might illustrate principles of human psychology that haven't been formally recognized. You don't need advanced degrees or expensive equipment to contribute to human understanding. You need curiosity, attention, and the courage to investigate what others dismiss. The greatest discovery of our time might not come from a prestigious laboratory or a well-funded research program. It might come from someone watching this video, someone willing to pay attention to what everyone else overlooks. Every breakthrough in human history began with someone noticing something that didn't quite fit, something that deserved investigation despite conventional wisdom suggesting it should be ignored. Fleming's contaminated petri dish, the shepherd's random rock throw, the unexpected sound, the anomalous pattern, the failed experiment that contained the seeds of revolution. Right now, in this moment, the next great discovery is waiting. It might be hiding in your backyard, in the data streaming past your computer screen, in the social patterns of your community, or in the natural phenomena you pass every day without really seeing. The question isn't whether these discoveries exist. The question is whether you'll be the one to find them. The greatest discovery in history might be waiting exactly where no one thinks to look. What are you going to notice today that everyone else will miss?